Good morning. We're going to begin laying down and you don't need any blanket under your back. Your back is flat on the floor and your hands on your belly. Feet hip width and parallel, so your legs are parallel. And bringing your awareness to your breathing. The feeling of the breath expanding the lungs, expanding the belly. Good. And then as you exhale, press your lower back into the floor. Hold it there and awareness of the breath. Feel the sensation of the abdomen being retracted like this. And then do the opposite shape where the lower back lifts away from the floor and still on the belly. And notice the feeling of the breath. Good. And then you're going to relax your spine, neutral shape, and take your arms overhead. We'll have the palms up. If your hands don't touch the floor easily, put a blanket under them. Feeling the movement of the breath in the chest and the belly. Noticing what feels resistant or maybe a bit tight around the chest and shoulders. Good. We're going to wiggle the feet around to the right side and wriggle your upper body around to the right side. So you can even pick up your shoulder blades a little bit and walk them over. So you're a nice big C shape or crescent moon shape. And if you take hold of your left wrist with your right hand, you can even draw a little bit more length into the left ribs. Good. And put your legs out to straight and cross your left ankle over your right ankle. We've got a really nice big stretch along the left side of the body. Breathing deeply. Good. And then releasing and wiggle yourself back to center. Good. Take your arms overhead again. Let your hands relax. Arms, shoulders, relax. Good. And then we're going to wiggle our feet across to the left side and wiggle your upper body. I kind of walk my shoulder blade to do that over to the left. So now we get a big stretch in the right side. And if you hold your right wrist with your left hand and even draw the right hand over more thoroughly. Good. And you can straighten your legs now and cross your right foot over your left ankle and see if you can get that leg straight. Whoa. Nice big stretch. Side body. Good work. And then releasing. Good. And then you're going to roll onto your side so you can see your device. I happen to be on my right side, so we'll call it floor, arm and leg, and roof, arm and leg. Have your floor leg out straight and try and be in a straight line, leg, rib, upper arm to the elbow. Good. we're going to take the roof, the roof leg, and lift it up and start to make some little circles. So you lift your knee as high as you can, and then we're going to make some circles. I've got my roof hand on the floor just to help me with my balance. Good, little circles go in the other direction. Nice. All right, bring the knees together and take the feet back behind you. Great, we're going to lift up onto the floor elbow. So you need to bring the elbow all the way in so it's underneath your shoulder and keep the shoulder in towards the core of the body. Good, so we're still a straight line, front torso, front leg, and lift your hips up off the floor. Good, take your roof arm up and look up. Feel the breath into the belly. Nice work. And then releasing. You're going to lay back down onto your back. Take your arms gently overhead again, just letting the shoulders relax, chest relax, legs are parallel, feet are parallel. Great, and then we're going to turn over to the second side. So again, we'll call them floor, arm and leg, and roof, arm and leg. And to start with, lay your arm out to straight, lay your legs out to straight. Bend in your roof knee or roof leg. So bring the knee in as close as you can towards your roof shoulder. Good, and then make some little circles with that. So we're trying to stay balanced here. You can use your roof hand onto the floor. Little circles, and then the other direction. Good. Bend both your legs now, so your feet go back behind you. Bringing your floor elbow all the way in until it's under your floor shoulder. Move your knees back. Try to get the front of the thighs, the front of the torso in a straight line. The floor shoulder needs to move in strongly towards the core of the body. Good, and then we're going to lift the hip and lift up the roof arm. Nice deep breath here. You might be able to look up at the ceiling, touch the thumb. Good, and then we're going to lower down and lay onto the tummy. Hands underneath your shoulders. Lift up, lift your head, lift your breastbone, and elbows in and elbows back. And then lower down. We're going to lift and lower with the breath. Keep the elbows in, inhaling, lifting the breastbone. Exhaling, lowering down. Press the tops of the feet and squeeze the knees away from the floor. Keep the elbows in. They're going to want to fly out. Couple more. Nice work. And lower down. Bring the elbows forward so that they land underneath the shoulders, not too far forward of the shoulders. Try to have your forearms parallel. Stretch the fingers and the thumbs. Draw the shoulder blades back. Lift the breastbone. And lift your tummy away from the floor. Finding that deep breath. You might be able to lift your hips off the floor. Good, and then we're going to lay down and relax. Take the arms back to side. Letting go of tension in your shoulders and your neck. Enjoying that deep breath. Good. And then elbows back underneath your shoulders. Lift your tummy away from the floor. Lift your thighs away from the floor. Good, and then lowering down. And turn your face to the opposite cheek so that you can rest your shoulders and your neck. Good. We're going to bring the hands back underneath the shoulders and lifting up. We're going to hold this time. Elbows in, elbows back. Some people might even be able to lift up onto straight arms, but don't do that if it crunches your lower back. We want to feel nice and long in the spine. Looking up, shoulder blades. Finding the breath. Good. And then press up into all fours, arching your spine up and arching your spine down. Good. And then forward virasana. Take your hips back towards the heels as far as your knees allow. Stretch your arms out in front, but bring the shoulders back so you feel spacious at the back of the neck. And then we're going to walk the arms over to the left side. Reach as far as you can with your right arm. Enjoying this satisfying breath. Good, and then back to center. And reach your arms over to the right side, especially your left arm. Good, and then back to center. We're going to come up into downward facing dog pose. So bring the knees hip width, tuck the toes under. Stretch the fingers out nice and wide, elbows a tiny bit bent, so not over straight. Lift the knees off the floor. Okay, we want to lift the hips high and let the head hang down so that the spine feels like there's a flow and there's a heaviness to the head. So the spine is extending, lengthening. Good. Now we're going to walk tiny little steps forward and try and press your heels towards the floor with each little step. And then tiny little steps back. So you might not walk very far forward, that's fine. But what you want to do is sort of pad your feet forward and back, just exploring that intense feeling of asking this stretch of your hamstrings, the muscles along the back of the legs. Does it tense the neck and shoulders to do that? Keep the weight in the fingerprints, the base of the index fingers. Let the head keep hanging down. Good. And then we're going to try and walk the feet as far forward as you can until you need to roll up. Good. And then we'll come to the front of the mat. Uttanasana. Let's take the arms up first. Stretch the sides of the body again as you exhale. Forward bend. We're trying to keep an ease to the spine though. So when you reach forward, just put your hands on the floor or your legs and wriggle your upper body. Just remind yourself that you can move all the way along your spine. There's an ease there. The skin is relaxed. Good. Look forward and bring the breastbone forward. Good. And then start to try and straighten your legs, and maybe one at a time is a better approach here. Good. Come back to center. Have your legs as straight as you can, but they don't have to be all the way straight. Walk your leg, sorry, not your leg, your hand around to the left side. Reach as far as you can with your right hand. Try to take the right hip back. Oh, and then back to center. And then walk your hands as far as you can around to the right side. And reaching with your left hand. The left hip back. Good, and then back to center. And we're going to roll up nice and slow. Make sure you're breathing. And the arms up and look up. Beautiful. And Tadasana. Good. We're going to bring the hands in front of the heart and press them. Draw the shoulder blades down. Step your feet together. Good. We're going to take the left toes back behind. And just bending at the front hip crease, we're going to gently tip the torso forward and see if the left toes will come up off the floor behind. Now, if you feel very wobbly doing this, you could use the back of a chair to hold on to in front of you. And we're just tipping up, back. One more. Good. Come back to feet together. I really was wobbly at the end there. Great. Hands in front of the heart, press them, draw the shoulder blades down, take the right foot behind, stretch the leg out so you're on your tiptoes, and then we're going to do the same thing, tipping the weight of the torso forward so the toes come off the floor. And you're going to keep going. Up and down. Noticing the sensation in your standing hip. Good work. And then release that side. We're back to feet together. Tadasana. And this time we're going to hold the lift of the back leg. So again, use the back of a chair if you're a little too wobbly on your balance. Inhale, arms up. And as you exhale, hands in front of your heart. Step your left foot back so your tiptoes are on the floor. And then we're going to tip the torso forward, lifting the back leg. And you might even be able to bring the torso parallel to the floor or along that arc of movement. Good, and then lifting back up. Feet together. Nice work. Right foot behind you, tiptoes to the floor. Tipping the weight of the torso forward so the back leg comes off the floor. And explore that movement. You might stop where your hip says that's enough. So we keep the hips level to the floor. Good, and then inhale and coming back up. Good work. Feet together, Tadasana. Let's do one more. This time we're going to take the arms up by the ears. We're going to step the left foot back. That is, unless you're holding onto the back of your chair, of course. And then give that a go. Lifting up the left foot off the floor, and we're bringing the front torso more and more parallel to the floor, but not necessarily all the way. But do keep the hips level to the floor. Lift the pelvic floor. Good, and then inhale. And coming back up. Let's release the arms for a moment. Finding your breath. Letting go of tension in your shoulders, face and throat. Inhale, arms up. Good, we're going to keep the arms up by the ears. Step the right foot back so you're on your tiptoes. And then we start to tip the weight of the torso forward. So we're bending just into the left hip. Heading towards parallel to the floor. But just as far as your hip is strong enough to hold. Hips level to the floor, lift the pelvic floor. And then inhale. Coming up. And release. Nice work. Part your feet hip width. This time, Urdhva Hastasana, arms up. And then Uttanasana. Standing forward bend. Give your back plenty of room to feel free, easeful. But really stretch the top of the head forward or down onto the floor. Have your hands where it makes sense, on your legs or on the floor. Soft hands. Lifting the sit bones. Good. Now from your forward bend, we're going to turn the toes out and wiggle your heels out a little bit wider than your hips. Turn the toes out again. Good. Now we're going to keep the heels on the floor and start to bend your knees so your hips come closer to the heels, but don't lift the heels off the floor. So it doesn't matter if you only get a tiny little bend, just keep the heels pressing down. Some people are going to get a bigger bend. If you reach your arms out in front a little bit further, you might get your hips closer. Good. Now, when you lift up, really press into your heels. I'm going to lift all the way. Urdhva Hastasana with duck feet. Tadasana. Let's bring the feet back to parallel. Probably feels weird. Have that foot position. I'm going to do the same thing. Urdhva Hastasana. As you exhale, Uttanasana with an ease to the spine. Nice stretchy legs though, even if it's quite a strong, intense resistance. Excuse me. All right, so what we're trying to do is take the feet out wider than the hips. Just that doesn't have to be a huge amount, and turn the toes out. All right, your hands are on the floor in front. Bend your knees where you can keep your heels on the floor. And you might be able to bring your hips closer to the heels, but don't lift the heels up. So you've gone too far if the heels lift up. Good. Press into the heels and lift up that way, strongly. Good. Duck-footed Urdhva Hastasana and Tadasana. Good. And just for a moment, bring the feet back in and feel your parallel leg. Nice, easeful alignment in your legs, your ankles, your hips, your knees. All right, one more. Inhale, arms up. As you exhale, Uttanasana, find ease in your spine. Okay, we want the feet wider than the hips, a little bit wider. Turn the toes out. And again, sit bones towards the heels, but if the heels come off the floor, you've gone too far. And to come up, really press into the heels and lift up. Duck-footed Urdhva Hastasana. Ah, beautiful. And then feet under the hips. Tadasana. We're going to use that newfound squatting to take a seat and see if you can sit using your hands minimally. We're going to take a wide leg position. Good. If you have trouble with that, sitting up in this position, put your blanket underneath your feet. We want to feel a little bit like we're rolling onto the front of the sit bones. You can use your hands behind you and help to ease the torso up, maybe even forward. We're going to bring both hands around to the left side. I'll look opposite to you. Reach your right hand, so your hands are on the left. Reach your right hand as far as you can along the outside of your left leg. You might be able to hold your toes or somewhere along the leg. And keep reaching the hand so that you can lengthen the right ribs, the right side of the body. Good, and then inhale. And coming up. And walking your hands around to the opposite side. So my hands are on the right. And I'm going to reach my left arm as far as I can along the outside of my leg. Some people can hold their feet. And keep reaching the left side of the body longer and longer. Good, and then inhale. And coming up. Nice work. We're going to go straight out to the front. So you can keep your hands behind you or walk them out in front. Try and lengthen both sides of the waist again. Even though you don't have a hand pulling you forward, holding onto your leg, that awareness of letting the pelvis be the anchor and lengthening the spine, drawing the shoulder blades back, the top of the head forward. And you might discover a big resistance here, not really traveling forward. You might find forward movement, appreciating your movement, the length of your spine. Good, and then coming back. Lifting up, nice and tall. Good, and bring the soles of the feet together. And we're going to have them a fair way out in front, so there's a gap from your torso to your heels. Hands behind your hips again. Find that easy feeling in your spine. We're making these movements without bringing tension into the spine. Let's do this one with the breath and make it a wave shape. So as you exhale, wave your torso forward. And as you inhale, roll up. Lift the breastbone. Exhale, waving forward. Inhale, lifting the breastbone. And even if the range of movement is small here, look for that supple feeling along the joints of the spine. all the way to the base of the spine, all the way to the base of the skull. Okay, we're going to bring the hands where it makes sense to support your forward range of movement. They might stay behind your hips, or maybe hold it somewhere near to your feet. Finding deep breath. Satisfying. Good. And then releasing. Simple cross-legged position. And sitting up onto your blanket, maybe you weren't doing that, would be a good idea. Right. And then from side to side, we're going to make a wave-like movement with the spine. Actually, you might bring the leg out in front so the feet are in contact with the floor. And then try your wave-like movement. All right, we're going to lean over to the left and put your left foot under your right leg. And you're going to find somewhere comfortable for your hand to take some weight. Fingers facing out at 45 degrees behind you. Good, and lift up your right arm. Let's roll onto the left sit bone and imagine lifting the hips, but they might not lift up off the floor, but you can really lift the chest and look up. Or maybe you can lift the hips. You can let your right arm reach back then to the chest. Good, and then release that side. Both feet out in front. Good. We're going to put the right foot under the left foot. Put your right hand down onto the floor. Somewhere where there's room for you to put some weight in there. Keep the elbow a little bit bent. Good. We're going to lift up the left arm and we've rolled onto the right sit bone. Imagine you could lift your hip. Maybe you can. And if you lift up, take your left arm back. Oh, good. Release that side. We're going to do one more on each side. Left foot under the right. Find a spot for your left hand. Reach your right arm up. Roll onto the left hip bone. Imagine lifting up or lift up. Good. And last one. So it'll be your right foot behind the left. Good. Right hand down onto the floor. Left arm lift up. You're on your right sit bone and imagine lifting up or lift up. Good. And then release. Okay, now we're going to come back into our simple cross-legged and come back to final. When we do the wave to side, we're really becoming aware of those fibers more at the side core. And then a little twist. So you don't have to have cross legs, of course, depending on your knee. You might have your legs out straight up. We're going to turn to the left side for Sukhasana twist and let the spine lengthen. Find your range of movement. Find the breath. And as you become aware of the movement of the breath in the body, notice how your range of movement increases. Or maybe not increases, but become available. Mm-hmm. And then Releasing. Change the cross of your leg. Paraverta Sukhasana to the right side. Lengthen the spine. Find what you think is your range of movement. And then find the action of the breath. Possibility of movement. And then coming to the center. Lovely work. We're going to lay down now. Now, an option here. Either you're going to work with your legs parallel, your arms beside you, and lifting your hips up and down off the floor. Remember, use the power of your legs and buttock muscles. Good. If you feel like you'd like to give it a go, and it feels safe for you to do that, you're going to kick your legs overhead so you're in halasana or plow pose. Now, they might not reach the floor and you don't want to hurt your neck, of course. But just noticing what that feeling is in the shoulders and the upper back. Rolling back down under control, so don't lift your head off the floor. And we're back to feet on the floor parallel and lifting the spine. Up and down. Discovering the subtle, supple movement of the spine. Good. And then resting the back onto the floor now, take the arms out from the shoulders. Lift the hips and swing them right and knees go left. Looking back over your right shoulder. And really aware of the whole core of the body. So when you lift your legs, there's thorough support for the spine. Back to center, feet together, knees together, lift the hips, swing them left. Knees go right. Ah. Thorough awareness of the core of the body. So that when you lift your knee, you feel the muscular support for your spine, the healthy movement of the spine. Coming back to center and hug your knee in, rocking a little bit inside. We're going to lay the legs out for a moment. Just let your legs roll out and feel the back of your body supported. Give the weight of your body to the floor. By all means, stay here in Shavasana if you can have that in your day. If, like me, you need to finish your practice, just gently hugging in your arms and legs. and rolling to your side. And coming up to sitting. Bringing the hands together. Namaste. And take the feeling of the practice into your weekend.